Welcome back, everyone. Today we're going to be upcycling old sweaters by chopping them up and then resewing them back together piece by piece to create a patchwork style sweatshirt. I'll be using standard crew necks for the video, but you can actually do this with any t-shirt, hoodie, or sweater. It's also super easy to do, so if you are new to sewing, you should have no problem following the easy step-by-step tutorial. With all that being said, let's get started. Getting started with supplies, I'll be using 3 crew neck sweatshirts. And you don't need to use this exact style of sweatshirt. You can switch it up and use a hoodie, a sweater, or even a t-shirt. You also don't need 3 different colors. You can use the same color, you can use 2 colors, or you can even use more than 3 colors. There's so many different directions you can take with this project when it comes to the fabric color, style, texture, so don't limit yourself when it comes to picking out the garments. But anyways, moving on to the preparation, we're going to place 2 of the sweaters off to the side and just focus on 1. So the overall goal is to make it look like there's a bunch of patches that are sewn together. And you'll think that you could just start cutting it up and sewing it back together, but actually you have to start by taking off the waistband, the cuffs, and the neckline. It might seem like this is a lot of work, but it's actually really easy to take them off and re-sew them back on. Plus, it's going to make the end product look way more professional. We're going to start with the waistband, and there's a few different ways you can do this. You can de-thread the entire thing stitch by stitch, or you can just cut it off with scissors. I actually prefer using scissors on knit material just because it's quicker and you're not going to lose a lot of material. I'm also cutting directly down the seam, but that's really all it takes. Now that we have our waistband off, we can place it off to the side and move up to the cuffs. And we'll be removing these the same exact way, just cut directly down the center of the seam. To save time on the cuffs, I like to line up both sides and cut it all off at once. When it comes to the neckline, you want to be a little bit more precise because there's not a lot of fabric to work with. But just like that, we have all the ribbing off the sweatshirt and we're ready to move on to the next step. So we can place the ribbing off to the side and flip the sweater inside out. The next task is to remove the side seam, so we're going to either de-thread or cut the seam. Again, I'll be using scissors and I'm going to start at the base and cut all the way to the end of the sleeve. After cutting, open it up and lay the entire sweater out flat, and now we're going to cut directly down the arm and shoulder seams. These seams typically have a top stitch, so I'm cutting directly in the middle of the seam. And at this point, you should have a fully deconstructed sweater. 1 back panel, 1 front panel, 2 sleeves, and your ribbing. Now before you move on, you want to repeat these exact same steps for your other garments, whether you're using sweaters, hoodies, or t-shirts. Now if you are using a garment like a t-shirt, then you only have to remove the neckline. Hoodies are a little different too because you remove the hood instead of a neckline. But either way, you want to deconstruct whatever garment you're using. For this next step, we're going to be cutting out the patches, and I'm going to be starting with the front panels, and what I like to do is line up all the front panels on top of one another. Now if you're using different brands and different sizes, they might not line up perfectly, but just try to line them up as best as possible. But what we're going to do is cut the patches in a strategic order, so that way we can sew them back together in that same order. And there's a lot of different ways you can make your cut. You can use squiggly lines, you can use diagonals, or you can use straight lines. Whatever method you choose, you want to start with your base cut, and my base cut is going to be directly down the center. Since it's the first cut, it's also going to be the last stitch, so these panels will be sewn together last after the other patches are sewn together. From here, we're going to move on to the next cut, and my next cuts are going to be perpendicular to the first cut. The same rule applies if you're using diagonal lines or squiggly lines. And you can place these cuts anywhere on each panel. You can go directly down the center, off to the side, and you can do as many cuts as you would like. And then we're going to jump right back to the vertical cuts, and you can cut as many vertical lines as you would like. And for this technique, you can keep jumping back and forth between vertical and horizontal cuts. But remember, the more times you bounce back and forth, that's the same order you're going to be sewing, but in reverse. Because remember, we started with a cut directly down the center. That's actually going to become our last stitch. And the most recent vertical cuts are going to become our first stitch. So the more cuts you do, the more complex it gets, so you may want to write it down. The same goes for diagonal and squiggly lines. Those are a little bit more complex, so you may want to start with the straight lines, just to get down the order of operations when it comes to cutting and sewing. For this next step, we're going to be figuring out the patchwork design, and that's just removing panels until you like the style. Once you figured out the layout, we're going to go back to our last cuts, and for me, that's going to be the vertical cuts. For a clean look, you place the right side together and make the stitch, but you can also switch it up and do a raw edge look by overlaying the 2 panels. This will expose one raw edge on the patch and really make it look like the patches are roughly stacked together. But for this one, I'm going to go the standard route, so I'm going to place the right side together for all my vertical cuts. And remember, these are the last vertical cuts I made, so essentially you're sewing in the reverse order of which you cut. Once you have your patches ready, take it to your sewing machine, and you can either use a serger or a zigzag stitch. After sewing, we're going to open up each panel, and this next step is optional. We're going to be adding a top stitch to each one of those seams. To add the top stitch, all you have to do is move the seam allowance to the left or the right of the seam and stitch directly on top of the seam allowance. And it doesn't matter which direction you move the seam allowance for this step. And once you're ready, take it to your sewing machine and add a top stitch to each one of your seams. If you really want to make it look professional, I recommend matching your thread color to your fabric color. This is going to help hide any small imperfections within that top stitch. But anyways, moving right along, next we're going to sew the horizontal stitches, so we're going to place the right sides together, lining up those cuts. And this was the second directional cut I made out of 3. Now when it comes to this step in the project, we're actually going to start losing fabric with each stitch, because each stitch has a seam allowance, and that seam seam allowance will be reduced from the actual width or the height of the sweater. As you can see, the panel that has the seam is a little bit shorter than the panel without the seam, and that's totally fine because we are using knit fabric, so it's stretchy, so all you have to do is stretch that fabric to match the width of the panel without the seam. It's not the best technique to use in all projects, but for this one, it's such a little amount that it's not going to make a big difference. And once you're ready, take it to your sewing machine, sew each cut, flip the right sides out, and add a top stitch. And when it comes to the top stitch, you can fold the seam allowance in either direction, or you don't have to add the top stitching at all. And at this point, you can start to see the actual patchwork come together. And a quick tip, if you are adding top stitching going horizontal with the stretch, if your presser foot has too much pressure, it's going to pull that fabric and stretch it, and it's going to look bacony after you stitch. But an easy way to fix this is to loosen up the pressure on the pressure foot so the fabric flows a little bit easier. Since I only made 3 directional cuts, I'm moving into my final stitch, and that's going to be the main stitch down the center. So place the right side together, lining up the panels along the center cut. If the heights are a little bit different, no worries, just stretch them to match and take it to your sewing machine and add your stitch. Flip the right sides out and add your top stitch. And just like that, your front panel is complete. And this is what it looks like with only 3 directional stitches. So the more you add vertically, horizontally, or any direction you'd like, the more complex the design is going to get. It's also going to change up the size of the patches, so that's also going to add to the style and look. Since I used 3 different sweatshirts, I'm actually making 3 different sweaters. So none of the material is going to go to waste, and I actually changed it up and I made 1 crop top and 1 longer crew neck. And all you have to do is take material from one of the crew necks and add it to the other. So that's going to make 1 crop and 1 long. And again, that's not mandatory. I just want to throw that in there as another option to have a variation between the designs. Moving on to the next step, that's going to be doing the same process for the back panel. And I'm not going to be going step by step through the back panel because it's the same exact thing as we just did for the front panel. And you can either do the same exact cuts or make up new cuts for a different look on the back. And to jump ahead, I quickly just did mine and I actually did a little bit different. I did fewer cuts on the back panels. I wanted to see how the bigger patches look compared to the smaller patches on the front. I also want to try some longer vertical cuts because I really think it'd be cool just to do all vertical cuts for one sweater. But like I said, there's so many different directions you can take it, so it's all about testing it and figuring out what works best with your fabric. But anyways, now that we have the back panels done, we can place them off to the side and grab the sleeve panels. And essentially, we're going to do the same thing for the sleeves, so the first step is lining them all up. And I like to just do one sleeve at a time so it doesn't get too thick to cut. When it comes to cutting the design, we're going to follow the same order of operations that we did for the front and back panels. I'm actually going to simplify it for the sleeves just to change it up, and I'm only going to be doing horizontal cuts. But you don't have to follow this exactly. You can do vertical cuts after this and another round of horizontal if you would like. It's just that the sleeve has less surface area to work with, so the fewer cuts, the bigger the patches are going to look. Just like with the front panel, we can start to remove panels to make up the color scheme. Since I only did 1 cut, the next step is simple. I'm going to place the right side together and sew those cuts. If you did multiple cuts, you're going to be going in reverse order, just like we did with the front panel. But anyways, once you're ready, take it to your sewing machine, add your seams, flip the right sides out, and add your top stitching. And just like that, your patch sleeve is complete. Unless you added more cuts, then you're going to continue the sewing process. Now we can grab the remaining sleeves and do the same thing. And you don't need to make the opposite sleeve look exactly the same. You can switch from horizontal to vertical cuts or make it all patches. To speed it up, I quickly finished all of mine. I did all mine with horizontal cuts. If I were to do it again, I probably would add 1 vertical cut directly down the center just to switch it up a little bit, but in the end it turned out fine and I liked the way it looked. But other than that, the sleeves are complete, so for the moment we can place them off to the side and grab all of the waistband ribbing panels. Typically I'll just sew these back on, but I want to take it 1 step further and do some patchwork on the ribbing panels. And essentially we're going to be doing the same thing, but when it comes to ribbing, we're only going to be cutting in one direction just because it's a little bit easier to sew back together. And all these cuts are going to be vertical, perpendicular to the stretch of the ribbing. I'm only doing 1 cut and then I'm swapping the colors. If you're doing more cuts, the steps will be the same. We're going to open up the ribbing and place the right sides together. And the heights of the ribbing might not be exactly the same, but that's no worry. A little bit of offset is not a big deal. Go ahead and place the right side together for the rest of the waistbands, take it to your sewing machine and stitch the new seams. And I only did 1 cut, so I sewed the 2 sides together. If you did more cuts, then you just continue the process. And one of the reasons why I didn't do horizontal cuts is that when you stretch it, you're probably going to get a ripple bacon effect after you cut it and sew it. So I find it's best to stick with the vertical cuts for a more professional finish. Now that we have the waistbands done, you can repeat the process for the necklines and the cuffs. The same rule applies. I do recommend sticking to the vertical cuts perpendicular to the stretch. And when it comes to the cuffs, I'm just going to leave them as is because I did horizontal cuts on my sleeves, so it's going to flow a little bit better with my design. To speed up the process, I finished all the ribbing panels, I left the cuffs alone, and I did the same exact cut to the neckline. I cut it directly down the center to match the look of the waistband. And like always, you don't have to do it exactly like this. You can switch it up and add your own touch. That's going to do it for the ribbing panel, so for the moment we can place them off to the side and grab the front and back panel for the sweater. The next phase of the project is reassembling the sweater, and it's super easy, so we're going to place the right side together, lining up the shoulders at the top. And if it doesn't line up perfectly, that's totally fine. Just line it up as good as possible, take to your sewing machine and stitch just the shoulder seams. Flip the right sides out and add a top stitch. Just like in the previous steps, the top stitching is optional for the shoulder seams, although this area does get a lot of stress, so if you do add it, it's going to add another level of strength. Moving right along, grab both of your sleeves, and for this next step, we're going to be reattaching the sleeves. There is a left and a right sleeve, so you're going to want to place the correct sleeve with the correct opening. And then you place the right side together, lining up the curved top edge of the sleeve with the opening on the sweater. Since both the sweater and the sleeve edges are curved in the opposite direction, you kind of have to hold it and sew it as you go. But once you have the correct sleeve lined up with the correct opening, take it to your sewing machine, add your stitch, flip the right sides out, and add your top stitch. After finishing up the top stitch, we're getting pretty close to being done. At this point, I do like to double check all the seams, make sure everything is looking good. If everything checks out, we're going to fold the sweater in half so the right sides are together, lining up the side seams. And a good rule of thumb is to make sure the front and back panels are lined up and the sleeves are lined up. You can also use the arm seam as a reference point. And like always, once you have both sides lined up, we're going to start at the bottom and stitch all the way through to the end of the sleeve. For this seam, I didn't add a top stitch. Typically, I don't add them on the side seams, but you can totally add them if you would like. It's a little bit tricky to gain access when you're going through the sleeve, so you kind of have to do it in two motions. You do one from the bottom, and then you go in from the sleeve. But anyways, moving on to the next step, we're going to be adding the ribbing, and we're going to start with the waistband. You can line yours up however you'd like. I'm going to be splitting mine directly down the center and placing the right sides together. Typically, waistbands are made a little bit smaller, so you have to stretch them to fit the width of the body. And this is how it's designed, so it pulls the body panels back together so it fits snug around your body. So don't worry if your waistband panel is smaller than the width of your body panels. I like to place a pin at the side seams and the center, and then I take to the sewing machine and stitch all the way around the bottom edge. From there, I flip the right sides out and add a top stitch on the body side. The top stitch is a little bit tricky when you're working with the ribbing panels, so if you need to restitch and try again, that's totally fine. But I will say it makes for a nice, clean, professional finish because it gives a separation between the ribbing and the fabric. But anyways, moving on, next we have to attach the cuffs and the neckline, and we're going to do it the same exact way. Place the right side together, and when it comes to the cuffs, I like to line up the seam on the cuff with the side seam on the sweater. And for the neckline, I cut mine directly down the center, so I'm lining up that center cut with the center of the sweater. Again, the neckline is going to be smaller, so you have to stretch it to match the width of the opening. With both the cuffs and neckline lined up, we're going to take it to the sewing machine, serge, and add your top stitch. The top stitching is optional. It's a little bit tricky, but it's well worth it in the end. After you finish stitching, your new patchwork sweater is complete. As you can see, the neckline looks really nice with that top stitch. If you don't add it, it kind of has an unfinished look, but it still works. And the final step is adding your branding. I just embroidered mine on, but feel free to switch it up and use a different technique. I also want to show you the finished crop top. It turned out really nice, and I also did the sleeves a little bit different. I cut them short, and instead of adding the cuff, I just serged the end, rolled it over, and hemmed it down. And you can actually do this with the waistband too. You can remove the ribbing waistband and totally just have it kind of like a t-shirt. The next modified design was the long sweater. This one also turned out good, pretty much the same as the one we made in the video, but for this one, I actually took the sleeve material from the crop top and added it onto the sleeves to make them longer. Which brings me into the final tip. If you are doing this and you're adding a lot of patches, it's going to reduce the overall width and the height. So when you're out thrifting or shopping for your sweaters, I recommend grabbing bigger sizes, so when you reduce the size, it's going to match the size you would like. But anyways, I hope you had some fun with the project and you made a sweater that's unique to your style. And there you have it. Your new patchwork style sweatshirt is complete. Hopefully yours turned out as good as mine did, and it does really vary based on how many cuts you make. You can do multiple vertical cuts and multiple horizontal cuts, or you can minimize it and only do a few of each. You can also add more sweatshirts to the project. I use 3, you can do 4, or you can do less. And you don't even have to actually add a full sweatshirt. You can actually swap out panels for fabric alone. So if you have a cool print fabric, you can actually take one of your panels, retrace it on your fabric, cut it out, and that will be your new sweater panel. And you don't even have to limit yourself to just sweatshirt. You can do t-shirts, hoodies, or even sweaters. Like always, I'd love to see what you come up with, so tag me on Instagram at ProperFitClothing, and until then, I'm going to keep the videos coming at you, so I'll see you next time.